It is Quiet Riot right here on your classic metal show from the last studio release from Quiet Riot with some shitty live bonus tracks.
Hey, don't break up our friendship again.
Well, the live bonus tracks was not our good friend Jizzy. It was some old Kevin Dubrow stuff, which
and he's dust now.
He should have never included that on the CD. That was horrible.
Frankie has to make money.
I know, but I'm sure he could have found better tracks than that.
No, dude, he's paying homage.
All right,
to his friend.
Whatever.
You know, that's his long lost best buddy friend.
Right.
I saw the documentary.
I did. I saw it as well. But that is from 10, Quiet Riot, that one featuring Jizzy Pearl on lead vocal.
Yes.
And prior to the release of 10, we had Jizzy on the show.
Yes.
And we were discussing his involvement with Quiet Riot. And we've known Jizzy for years.
I am the number one love-hate fan.
You are.
The first time I met Jizzy was in 90?
I don't know you. I didn't know you then.
No,
so.
it was I was living in California.
Sure.
And they were opening for Dio.
Right.
And then they were just hanging out outside after.
Sure.
And I had Blackout in the Red Room. And, I had him sign it and whatever.
Right.
And
do you still have it?
Oh, yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, one of the few that I
know you don't keep that shit. I mean, my studio's like a mini hard rock cafe, but you're just like, everything I own in rock, I can put in this envelope.
Yeah, I have about 200 CDs that I own. Everything else is in the cloud.
Right.
I have 100,000 songs on the cloud, but I have nothing that I've kept.
Yeah.
But no, I've known Jizzy forever.
Sure.
And I'll let you get into the story of it.
Okay.
But I got to admit, I usually don't give a fuck when people don't like us. This one really bothered me.
Yeah, as it should. It bothered me as well.
I mean, you remember me driving down to some bullshit show that they were playing somewhere in the middle of nowhere,
right? To
record a takeover show. With Jizzy.
They were down in Canton.
Well, wherever it was, and I'm recording in a bathroom with Jizzy.
Right.
Me and him sat in a bathroom for 3 hours recording a takeover show.
They were down at Canton Palace or something like
some
that.
Bullshit place.
Yeah.
But I mean, I am a total fan.
Right.
And I like Jizzy. I like his books.
Sure.
I like his, like his tunes. Was a fan of him in L.A. Guns.
Right.
Like Shrinking Violet.
Yep.
I'm a fan of that guy.
Yeah.
And when everything went down, I was like...
Well, we were surprised at first.
Well, yeah, we were both... We thought it was bullshit.
Yeah, we thought he was just being silly.
Yeah.
But he meant it. He was mad. And I sent him an apology letter. Right. And I didn't even hear back from that. I sent him a total apology letter.
I was like, God damn it, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, the guy who uses profanities, weaves profanities like the finest carpet maker.
Exactly.
And us just, saying, well, I'm a little skeptical.
Well, let's clarify
it was
us.
Me.
Let's clarify us.
It was me.
It was you.
I said I will have to hear it first. Yeah. That's all I said.
Yeah, no, we didn't say it's not going to work. I was like, I want to hear it. And you were like, I don't see it.
Yeah, I said, when I think Quiet Riot, I don't think Jizzy Pearl.
Right.
That's all I said.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't see it. I said, but I guess we'll just have to wait.
Yeah.
I said, maybe it'll surprise us.
Yeah.
Like Mark Tornillo in Accept.
Yeah. But and I remember because me and you, when we found out it was real, we both pulled the clip.
Yeah, we were just like, what?
We're like, get the fuck out of here. Not this guy.
Yeah. And, Jizzy was on the show, and he was promoting his quote-unquote solo record that he originally called Love Hate.
Right.
And then the former members of Love Hate threatened to sue him.
Right.
So he had to turn it into a Jizzy Pearl record.
Right.
And he was on the show promoting that. And then, the Quiet Riot hadn't come out yet.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, don't worry about it, dude. It'll be good. I think you'll be surprised. I think it'll be great, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then he got off the phone. And then I said, yeah, I just don't see it.
Right.
I guess I'm going to have to hear it, And I guess he listened to the show after. And then the next day we had a post on the CMS Facebook page that said, "Fuck both of you."
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? And so, of course, you and I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah.
And I was just like, do you think he's really mad?
Yeah.
Because it just didn't register that he would be angry or upset over that.
No, and then it wasn't until our friend Amy told me that she had talked to Jizzy, and he was very pissed.
He was pissed. All right, so that happened about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it was like January of 2014, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I went out to Farm Rock. Taylor and I went out to Farm Rock last weekend.
Right.
And we hung out with, obviously, if you had the Dokken clip, I'd have you play that. But obviously, we hung out with Dokken.
Right.
Dokken was the only band that played 2 nights.
Right.
They played Saturday and Sunday. And there was a lot of people out there. There was, as far as performers, I think there was more performers than there was actual people who went to the show.
Really?
I mean, the stupid thing is that they had this thing on Labor Day weekend.
Right.
Which was kind of dumb because most people make plans for Labor Day.
Right, sure.
And they leave town, Yeah. And I don't know anybody who lives in Illinois, especially northern Illinois, they either go north into Wisconsin to the Wisconsin Dells.
Okay.
Or they go east to Michigan and they go to the lake.
Okay.
They go out to their cabins and their camping retreats and whatnot.
Okay.
So the traffic leaving northern Illinois is just crazy on Interstate 94. I mean, it's just everybody goes to Michigan,
right,
for whatever reason.
Sure.
So not a good weekend to have one of these things.
Right. And they had like 30 bands or something?
They did. Just to run down a few of the bands that were there, obviously Dokken was there, sure. Quiet Riot, Vixen, Sebastian Bach, Trickster.
How good was Vixen?
We didn't see him because we didn't get there in time.
You boycotted because Jan was dead.
No, we didn't see Vixen. Kix was there. Didn't get to see them. We got there. You know how Dokken rolls. They roll an hour before they're supposed to go on,
and then leave 5 minutes after.
Well, no, actually they hung out. They actually hung out. Believe it or not. Cool. But Extreme was there.
Right.
Tom Kiefer, Cinderella.
Yeah.
Let's see who else performed.
How was Extreme?
They were actually pretty
Did they
good.
play an electric set? Because I know a lot of people have been bitching that they've been playing acoustic sets.
No, they actually did play their hits.
Okay.
In full on electric.
Yeah, because I saw even Stevie Rochelle bitched about their Cat House performance that they came out and played acoustic.
Oh, I see. They played full electric.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
Pat Batcher was kind of fun on the.
He was nice.
He was shocked, and he should have remembered that I interviewed him.
Yeah, he says, nobody pays attention to the Badger record.
Yeah, but he was shocked that I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
But Taylor got to meet Nuno, right, Taylor?
Yeah.
He was nice to you, right?
Yeah, he was all right.
Of course he was.
Oh, he took a picture with her.
Of course he did.
Was real friendly.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he was.
I never spoke to Nuno before.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Well, again, I don't know that to be. He was cool. He
was a dick to me.
All right, that's fair enough. But when I met him. Yeah. I walked up to him and I told him who I was. He goes, "Yeah, cool. It's a good to meet you." He goes, "So, what do you guys do?" And I told him, well, we'll feature the new record. We featured the last record, and so on and so forth. And he was just like, "Well, that's cool." I said, "Well, Taylor wants a picture with." "Oh yeah, no problem. Jump on in here." So he took a picture.
Okay.
But who's a hardcore Nuno fan?
Who?
John Levin.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he can play.
Yes, I agree.
He could definitely play.
Yeah. But what was funny, and this is kind of jumping all over the place, but when Extreme was on the stage, John is like, "Everybody going up? Everybody going up? Come on, we got to go see Extreme, right?" And so he left the bus.
Okay.
And he was gone, I don't know, 10 minutes before the rest of us.
Right.
So Don says, "Well, we might as well take a walk up. Let's go up and see Extreme. Let's see what they bring to the table, right?"
Sure.
So Taylor and I and Don and Frank. Do you know Frank, the sound guy? He works with he works with Accept, and he works with Lenny.
I've met him, but I don't know him.
Yeah, Well, we all went up.
Okay.
And we all stood side stage.
Yeah.
And John was on the other side of the stage in the little guitar tuning tent, you know.
Nice.
You know, and he's over there. And we stayed for probably 3/4 of the Extreme set.
Okay.
And watched it. I mean, you know, they played all their hits. You know, they're Wholehearted and, you know, was it More Than Words? And,
Right.
you know,
All gay shit.
Come on, I like Extreme.
Gay.
So, and
Why are they gay?
It's pussy shit. Like I said when I was there, play some Slayer.
right.
That Extreme was great.
But the thing is Gary Sharon, nice guy.
Right.
Met him for a few minutes, just chatted with him. I, you know, told him who I was. Oh yeah. And I know your show. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, sure he does.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But anyway, he was doing that whole where he was like flopping down and laying on the stage like he was dead. You know, he's just like laying all spread eagle out on the stage, and then he's like climbing on top of the amplifiers and doing all kind of weird. You know,
Now, I will say I've only seen Extreme one time, and they did the equally gay shit.
You know,
I saw them, and I hate to say it, but they were pretty gay opening for Bon Jovi.
Right.
When I saw him open for Bon Jovi.
yeah. Well, when he was with Van Halen for that short time, he was just doing that weird shit where he's like ducking down behind the drum riser, and you know, it's like, what are you doing?
He probably wasn't paid to be in front of the stage, and he probably told him, "Get the fuck behind me,
Right,
dick."
right. So anyway, you know, so we were watching the Extreme show, and
Sure.
and they played very well.
I'm sure.
I mean, they were real
They're
good.
talented guys.
They are very talented. I agree.
Who's playing drums for him? It's not Mike Mangini
I
anymore,
don't.
is it?
I don't know the guy's name.
Who cares?
Come on, these guys were great. Come on, this is the good stuff, Taylor. This doesn't make you just come.
Yeah, really get your pussy wet.
Let me see. What is that dripping all over your shoes? That's Extreme juice dripping. Oh, what am I doing here?
Woo! It's live.
The live version.
Right. So anyway, we watched that, and we watched probably to the last song.
Okay.
And Don said, "All right, I had enough of this." so we walked off the stage, and what was so funny, is that Don is so good at ad-libbing words.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what the song was that they were. I think they might have been playing this song,
Wholehearted?
The Wholehearted. And he was singing this whole story about my dog's balls. And he's like, Extreme, nice guys, talented. I just don't get their music.
Right.
I just don't get it. I don't get where they're coming from. I don't get the whole thing, you know.
Now, you're not a fan either, are you?
I'm not a huge fan, no.
Yeah, see, I love them.
You know, I've
Love
listened to, I don't hate them, but I'm not a fan.
I don't like their hits. I'll be honest. If they would play a set with no hits, I would fucking be in heaven. But other than Decadence Dance, which I think is a good fucking rockin' tune.
Right.
But I mean, Wholehearted, More Than Words. What's the song about warheads? I'm a warhead. She's a warhead.
Yeah.
Fucking terrible.
Exactly.
And, you know, those songs not so good. But, man, they have a lot of really heavy songs.
Right. Well, we were, as like I said, we were walking back to the bus, and Don was, and whatever song that they were playing on the stage,
right?
Don was singing along with the song, and he was making up words as he was going along. But
right.
the basic chorus was "My dog's balls." It was freaking hysterical.
It's probably More Than Words, because that
could have
fits.
been
My dog's balls.
It could have been. So we were laughing just all the way back to the bus, you know, just
right.
because he's just like, you know, I just don't get it. I don't get where they're coming from. I don't get that whole thing, you know. And so we got back to the bus.
Yeah.
And at this point, Mick was ready to get back to the hotel. He's just like, yeah, let's go.
He is always in a hurry.
I know, he's always in a hurry.
And he's the big party guy.
But that's why he wanted to get back to the hotel
so
to have
he
a
could
drink.
party?
Yeah,
Right.
so he could party, right?
Right.
So Don had his management is out of St. Paul, Minnesota.
Don's management?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the band's management and they rent this couple has this bus, right?
Okay.
And they call it the War Wagon.
All right.
And they literally had it for probably 10, 15 years.
This is Dokken?
No. It's not Dokken's bus. It belongs to this couple.
But Dokken uses it?
Yes.
All right.
All right. So when they're touring like the Midwest for 2 or 3 days or something, they'll use this bus, right?
Okay.
And so when we got to the venue, this bus was parked there.
All right.
And because this was out in the cornfield,
right,
and there was no real dressing rooms or anything,
yeah,
they brought in all these little RVs and trailers and everything, and each band had their own little RV. And
so it was like the Dirt Fest that we went to.
Yeah,
Rock USA.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
Yeah. So they had trailers, RVs.
Okay.
So the RV that was there for Dokken was this war wagon, is what they called it.
Okay.
And so we were on this bus, and since this was the last night of the festival,
yeah,
they were going to take the bus back to the hotel.
Okay.
Because they were basically parked out there Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and then they were going to drive the bus back to the hotel.
Right.
So all of us were on the bus.
Okay.
Everybody from the band and us, we were on the bus.
Singing about dogs' balls.
Exactly. And so it's like, well, where's John? Where's John?
Oh, nice.
And he's like, well, he's still up on the side stage sucking Nuno's dick. He's like a Nuno-phile.
Nice.
So apparently John is a huge fan of Nuno.
Oh, wow.
And
sorry to hear that.
He likes to watch his... the way
the guy can play. Don't get me wrong. He
believe
can
me.
Fucking play.
He did a little solo thing, and he jammed.
He could play, but my problem with him is he was a monumental cock when I met him.
Well, again, the short time that we interacted with him, he was very nice.
Right.
So anyway, jumping back to the beginning of the show, we went there Saturday.
Okay.
And so we got to the hotel, and Don and Mick and John, and they had Chris McCarville, who plays with the House of Lords, playing bass with them.
Sure.
And apparently, I don't know if this is an announcement or not, but exactly.
Breaking news.
Exactly. Chris McCarville of House of Lords is now, quote unquote, the new bassist in Dokken.
Dun dun dun.
Apparently, it wasn't working out with Mark Bowles.
Apparently not.
And so Chris McCarville, he wants to be in Dokken.
Okay.
And he says he wants to be dedicated to it. And not only that, not only does he bring his musician skills, and he's a really good backup vocalist.
Sure.
And he's a very proficient bassist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he is also a videographer type of guy.
Okay.
So he does a lot of the digital stuff. He can do editing and shooting and all this other stuff. That's what he does for his normal job.
Okay.
And so Dokken is going to do even though it's 2 years past,
right?
They're going to try to reinvigorate Broken Bones.
Ugh, what a terrible idea.
Well, I'm just telling you what the plan is.
Why didn't you tell him that was a bad idea?
Trust me, we had extensive discussions in the bus.
And was your opinion it's a bad idea?
It was just like, well, Don was just like, yeah, it's already 2 years by.
Yeah, so record 3 new songs and put out an EP.
Well, but there is plans to do something. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what he needs to do.
Yeah. But anyway,
Look at you dodging this bullet.
No, I'm trying to tell you where this discussion went. All right?
All right.
So the song that was picked for the new video was one that you and I agreed on.
Okay.
Burning Tears.
All right. Well, they've been playing it live, so why not?
Yeah, so they're going to do that.
Okay, that's good.
All right. And then the new music will come.
All right.
All right. So they just want to kind of throw something out there, give somebody, give the fans something to have until they get something new out there.
Okay.
That's the plan.
That works.
All right. So they're not trying to promote the whole record. They're just saying, well, this is something, that we want to do and give the fans something new.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably about time to move forward.
Well, they are going to. Exactly. But anyway.
Besides, I need to make some money, so I need a new website to build. So do a new record, goddammit.
I don't know if this should be an announcement or not.
All right.
And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. No Dokken reunion.
Good.
No Dokken reunion.
I think I called that a month and a half ago.
Well, I know. We had a discussion on the show, and not happening.
I think the topic or the title was why there won't be a Dokken reunion.
That is true. That is true, and I actually showed that to Don.
Yeah.
He actually thought it was funny.
Well, did he think we were right?
Well, he didn't hear it.
Okay.
I just showed him that we had the discussion.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, dude, there's no reason to have it.
Yeah, I agree.
There's just, it won't be good. And I guess I'm fucking cut my own throat by saying that, especially after the Jizzy fiasco, but it won't be good. Don can't sing like that anymore. The fans have this fucking pretend illusion that it's going to be 1987 all over again.
Right.
And it's not.
Right.
Don can't sing like he did in 1987.
Sure.
George can't play like he did
Right.
in 1987.
Right.
So half of the band is going to be fucking 2 steps past what they should be. So that's not worth having.
Look at Jackal.
What do you say?
No Dokken reunion equals no Dokken.
Now, if they got Thayer in there
Right.
instead of Jeff Pilson,
Yeah.
now we're talking about something.
Exactly. But so anyway, we got there Saturday.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this a little bit when I made a call in. Mm-hmm. But the promoter did not promote or did not provide any alcohol.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know why. I really don't. I don't understand it. But so we had to go get it. And I know I told a little bit about this on the show last week.
You can just jump in if you want to.
But we were listening to Iron Maiden in the car.
Right.
And
What's up, Sean?
and Don was again ad-libbing the whole story about
Right.
hunting dragons and dragon soup and all this
Right.
and stuff. So
Sure.
if you listened to last week's show, you heard that whole story.
Yeah.
So I don't want to reiterate that, but things got off and rolling pretty good.
Okay.
So we got back to the hotel, and Don says, "Well, listen, I'm going to go take a nap before the show. We'll head down to the bar.
Right.
We'll get a cocktail before the show.
Right.
And we'll head out." So
Okay.
so we went to the bar. And
Is there any whispering?
No,
Oh, no, we did joke about that, though.
we did joke about that.
To Don?
No, I was doing it with Taylor. I go, "Oh my God, we're drinking with Don Dokken."
That was the dumbest thing ever. That was so stupid.
So we were doing that. Well, we went to the bar and it didn't open till 4:30.
Yeah.
So we were there like at 25 after 4.
Okay.
And we're telling the lady, "Hey, can we order?" "Oh, well, I'm not done setting up. We're not quite open yet." And Don's like, "Come on, I got a show to do. Let's get some drinks out here. Chop chop."
Yeah, turn your ass around, grab that bottle right there,
that's-
and fucking pour it in a cup.
That's basically what he told her, and she
We're
says,
still
"Well,
setting up."
That's what
Fuck you.
That's what she said. Well, that's what she did.
What was she still setting up?
She
Was
was-
she still arranging the ice
She
in
was.
the ice tray?
She was arranging the bottles on the bar.
Shut up.
'Cause they-
Serve a drink.
Because they put everything away, at night they lock it up in the drawers and the cabinets and stuff.
What a twat.
So she was getting all the bottles out to sit up on the bar.
Yeah, she couldn't take 1 second out of her time
Well,
to fucking
I agree.
spit out a drink.
Well,
right?
that's what Don said. He says, "Come on, what does it take to fill 3 glasses with ice and pour with Jack and Coke?"
Why don't you give me that bottle right there? Just give me that bottle.
So we had the bottles we were taking with us to the show. We had some Jim Beam for Mick,
Right.
and we had the Jack for Don and whoever else wanted some.
Okay.
So we had them in bags. We look like hobos with these bags of booze.
Right.
So we went over to sit down, and Don took one drink of his Jack and Coke. We all had Jack and Coke, as you know. You have to have Jack and
Sure,
Coke,
of course.
when you're drinking with Dokken.
Right.
So he goes, "God damn, this drink is weak." He says, "Give me that bottle." So we opened the bottle in the bar and laced the drinks.
Nice.
And he's passing he goes, "Here," and he gives me the bottle, and then he looks at Taylor. He goes, "You don't get any." He goes, "None
I'm
for
too
you.
young."
You're too young."
Nice.
So
Well, he's old enough to be your great grandfather, isn't he?
we
Who,
were
Neeley or Don?
Either one. Either one.
so we loaded up and got on the shuttle, went out to the show.
Right.
Got into the war wagon, we're all kind of hanging out. Well,
Right.
Mick was in rare form.
God.
My God, Mick was he was amped.
Really?
He's hilarious.
Oh, he was just amped.
Mick is good fun.
Oh, he is. So we're sitting there just kind of hanging out and just waiting, just kind of chilling, having a few drinks. So Dawn, they didn't have any bagged ice on the bus. All the ice that they had was poured into the coolers, to keep the pop and everything else cold.
Sure.
So we had to dig the ice out of there, and he was just like, "Don't we have any clean ice?" And she goes, "Well, I just poured that in there." The bus driver lady,
right?
She goes, "I just poured that in there. Just grab some off the top." So he grabbed some ice and put it in his cup, and he was drinking. He goes, "This tastes like taint ice." He said, taint ice. He said, I could just taste the people's hands who went to the bathroom and wiped their ass and then stuck their hand in this ice.
How does he know that flavor? I mean, shit.
He goes, I'm not drinking this. And he poured his glass out. Go get me some fresh ice. This tastes like taint
ice.
Taint ice.
We got to be able to do something with that now. Come on. Taint ice?
Right. So then
watch. There'll be 15 pictures in the chat room any minute.
Yeah, I know. What
people rubbing ice on their taint.
Right.
Come on, chat room. You guys are so fucking good. Let's have some ice taint.
Exactly. So this little kid, I don't know who he belonged to, but he got on the bus.
All right.
And he had pictures that he basically drew in crayon.
Okay.
Of Dokken on stage, right? He drew a picture of John. And he drew a picture of Mick or basically Dawn and whatever.
All right.
And so this kid gets on this bus and he brings these drawings to give to the band.
Right.
And so Mick meets him at the door and goes, "Who are you? What do you want?" He goes, "I brought these pictures to give the guys." And he goes, "Who's this?" He goes, "That's for John." And John was in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
So Mick yells out, "Hey, John, bring a refrigerator and a magnet. This kid brought you a picture."
Fucking Mick.
Bring a refrigerator and a magnet.
Mick.
He goes, "Well, where am I in all this?" And this kid goes, "You're right here." And of course, he was a little kid, so it's all screen. He goes, "Oh, am I this mess over here in the corner?" Oh my God, it was hysterical.
I love it.
So so it was Dokken's turn to get up. Oh, wait a minute. It was Dokken's turn to go up. So we went up on the side stage, and Chip was up there hanging out. Chip's enough, because he was doing all the announcing on the show.
Now, how does Chip get that gig?
Well, because he's from Illinois. He's from Chicago, and he's probably friends with the promoter.
Right.
But, here's the weird thing. Eddie Trunk was there all weekend, and we saw him on the stage one time.
Yeah.
So he really just collected a check?
I don't know what he did. To be honest with you, I have no idea what he did.
He dodged you.
No, he didn't dodge me. But I don't know what he was doing. Because Chip was out there introducing all the bands.
Well, how many tickets do you really think an announcement that Eddie Trunk is appearing sells?
I don't know the answer.
I mean, if you had to guess, how many you were there? You saw the crowd.
It was awful.
Was there? How many people were there? First of all,
well, from what we could see, 150 people.
150 people for 30 bands.
Would you say that?
I don't know.
200.
Yeah, like 200, 250 maybe.
250 people.
Yeah. Well,
it wasn't a big crowd.
Well, Taylor and I.
This was outdoor or indoor?
This was outdoors.
Yep.
Holy smokes.
I know. Well, see, here's the thing, and again, I don't have the numbers,
right.
But I was explaining Taylor what the guarantees are on a lot of these bands and what they get.
Sure.
I know what Dokken gets, and I know what Sebastian got, and I know what Tom Kiefer got, and I know what Extreme got.
So guys,
basically.
The fans must have paid about $5,000 a ticket.
Well, what I figured with the headliners, not the opening scrubs that probably had to sell tickets to be on the bill,
like Skid Row.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Were they there?
No.
Okay,
but if they were, I would have gone to see. I wanted to see Tony Arnell. But anyway, regardless,
right?
I figured just with the guarantees, 150,000.
And how much were the tickets?
30.
30 times 200. That's 6,000.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They had VIP too. I don't know how much that was.
Yeah, but the VIP cost.
Yeah, but that was for 3 nights though.
Yeah.
VIP goes to the bands.
No, VIP was for Well, they had to like the 3-day pass.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So
and
that's cheaper.
but here's the thing.
So
I don't.
So 3 nights they would have done 18 grand.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that would be very surprising.
Well, at least Dokken got paid.
Well, everybody who performed got their guarantee.
Shit.
You know. So that was my estimation.
I don't think there'll be a Farm Fest.
That's what I was. Well, 3. That would be 3 because they did this 2 years ago.
Yeah, that doesn't.
And then they had one last year. But here's the other thing: this thing was not promoted. I did not.
Wait a minute! I'm sure he had a Twitter account.
I'm telling you, I did not see any promotion for this.
I never even heard of it. That's why when you said you were going, I was like, "What?"
Yeah. So I don't know how that. I can't even imagine how this promoter made any money on this
Farm Fest.
Honestly,
Farm rock.
But I will tell you probably the outstanding performance.
Okay,
Tom Kiefer.
Oh, he's great.
He was phenomenal.
He's always been great.
Well, I understand that, but my point is that he had a full bus. I mean, he had the big touring bus with the wagon in the back and the whole shebang-a-bang.
Right.
Well, we were walking back to the bus, the one that was just parked there for the dressing room purposes.
Right.
Don was basically breaking down. He says, "This guy ain't making any money." He says, "He's probably clearing for himself $3,000 a performance."
Tom Kiefer?
Tom Kiefer after expenses.
Because of that bus?
Yeah, because
maybe he owns the bus.
He doesn't own that bus.
Why do you think
That's $1 million bus.
Cinderella was huge.
Yeah, I know, but he isn't. But it would still cost them about $1,000 a day to run that bus.
Okay, but if they're making 15,
yeah, but he had 9 people with him.
Oh well, yeah. Well, how much do you think that Chris McCarville makes?
Well,
that's $500.
Yeah, I understand.
So
but
500 times 8, that's what, 4,500, 4,000, something like that.
Yeah, but then you got
$4,000.
But then you got the management fee, and then you got
Tom handles that himself.
Oh, sure he does. Sure he does. He's just he's making like $3,000 a show after all said and done.
I'm actually going to go see Tom in November.
It's a good show.
I'm sure it is.
It's a good show.
He's never sucked.
He was out there just ripping it up, but he had like 9 performers on stage with him.
Is that what makes up the fake Cinderella?
More or less.
It takes 9 to replace 3?
More or less. Because he had the backup singers and he had the
he's got the chicks with him?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One's his wife.
Ugh.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ugh.
Yeah. So they had the backup singers and the
I could do without that.
Well, they had to sing, "Give Me Shelter."
No, they don't. They really don't. That was not a very fucking good song.
But overall, Tom, very energetic show.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing: when Quiet Riot was on the stage,
all right,
clearly it's Frankie's show.
He's an asshole.
Hey,
clearly
we
it's
just made up with this band.
That's Jizzy, not Frank.
But the thing is that his snare was so loud that when we were on the bus and we were on the other side of the campground more or less, that snare was just blasting.
Look, when you get to the point of being one of the Beatles of anything, then you can have a loud drum set.
Exactly. So that snare was definitely loud.
Now, how was their set? Did you see them or no?
I didn't. I could hear them.
Okay.
I didn't have to see them.
Yeah.
I heard them.
Were they good?
It sounded like it was Quiet Riot. It was Quiet Riot light. Whatever.
Would you rather have seen them with Kevin?
Yes.
Really?
And this is not a slam on Jizzy. It's just different.
Would you rather see him with Rudy Sarzo?
Does he make that big of a difference?
Not to me.
Not to me either. So that's a non.
See, I would never go to see Quiet Riot ever. I would go now because of Jizzy.
Yeah, of course.
To see Jizzy.
Right.
Well, I saw him with Hellion and Y&T, and they were pretty good.
See, I just don't think that they had enough songs to see them.
Mm-hmm.
It's my own personal opinion, but as far as I know, and I think I own all the records, I can name like 3 songs that I care about, and then the rest are shit.
Sure.
It's
like going to see Foghat.
Foghat had more hits.
Yeah, no, you go see Fool for the City, I Just Want to Make Love to You, and Slow Ride. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But, Quiet Riot tries to pretend like they had extended hits.
No, they didn't.
And I mean, first album, Mental Health's a great album.
Sure it is.
Fucking great album. You can listen to all, 9 songs or
Right.
whatever's on it.
Right.
Start to finish. Great album.
Right.
Condition Critical, I remember buying that. And I was like 15 years old. Sorry, Taylor. You were still fucking an apple
I
or
have
something that your
vinyl.
dad, you were like an apple or something that your dad was yet to eat.
Right.
You know, but I remember getting that record and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Stomp your hands, clap your feet.
Sure.
You know, what was the other song on that?
Well, it was what was that?
With the video.
Yeah, they had where he was.
Mama,
Yeah, we're all crazy now. All crazy now.
Terrible.
Mama, we're all crazy.
And that's not
now.
theirs either, is it? Isn't
No.
that Slade tune?
No.
So, and then
Their whole career is hinged on other people's music.
the best song that they ever had a hit with in my ears was The Wild and the Young. I just kind of liked that song. And it was a moderate hit.
Yeah,
it was
sure.
not like wasn't like top 3 or anything. It was a very moderate hit, but I just sort of dug it.
Sure.
You know, what else?
Nothing.
I mean,
You know, Slick Black Cadillac.
Yeah.
You know,
had to do that twice to get it to be a hit once.
sure.
You know, because wasn't that on like Quiet Riot 2 or something,
Yeah,
and it tanked.
Right.
So then they redid it on the other one.
Sure.
Yeah, they're Autograph.
More or less.
They're the same as Autograph.
Yeah. So anyway, I was up on stage.
Yeah.
And Dokken was playing.
Okay.
And I look over, and who should be standing there? Jizzy.
All right.
And I said to Taylor,
And he said, "Fuck you!"
Well, but see, he was surprised to see me, right?
Right.
And we were standing there, and I said to Taylor, I said, "Hey, there's Jizzy."
Okay.
I said, "I'm going to go over and talk to him." So she came with me, and he saw me walking toward him,
Right.
And so he just kind of extended his arm out and pointed at me, like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" You know.
Nice.
So I walked up to him, and I shook hands with him.
Right.
And the first thing I said to him, I said, "Are you really pissed at us?"
Right.
That's what I said. And he goes, "Yeah, dude, I was pretty pissed." And I was just like, "Dude, we love you. How could you be pissed at us?" I just took what you said personal. I just took it personal. I said, he goes, "But it's over now. It's over." Yeah. You know, and I said, "Trust me, Chris and I don't have any malice toward you at all. None. I said, we love you. I said, we've had you on the show for you. I know, dude. I know. It's over. It's over. Just drop it. Just drop it. Yeah. Let's not talk about it anymore. Just drop it. It's over. We're good."
All right.
I said, well, let's take a picture and let's let everybody know it's good. Yeah, no problem, man. Let's just do a picture.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It just. I don't know. I don't want to rehash it again and again, but it just really. That's the only time ever that I've been bothered.
Right.
You know, I wasn't bothered when Jack Frost was mad at us.
Yeah.
I wasn't bothered when Doro was mad at me.
And Jan Keeneman.
None of these people I was not upset about.
Right.
But I was such a Jizzy fan that it was really bothered.
Right,
It really bothered me a lot.
Sure.
Because that was, you know, without getting all stupid and sappy and whatever, one of the reasons we do this bullshit is to fucking hang out with these guys that we wanted to as kids.
Right, absolutely.
And Jizzy, for me, fucking Blackout in the Red Room, I think I've played that album 940 gazillion times.
Right, absolutely.
You know, I still play it all the time.
Right.
And to have that guy pissed, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I've pissed off a lot of people, but
sure.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Not that guy.
So I said, "So are we good? Everything's all good?" "Oh yeah, we're good now, dude. Just let's just drop it. Just drop it. I just took it personal. It's no biggie. It's all good." He says, "But I tell you what," he says, "you know, since we're all good," he says, "I got this 25th anniversary thing coming up for Love Hate. You know, I'm going to do this." I don't know what he's got planned, but he goes, "Maybe I'll come on the show and talk about it." I said, "Dude, you got the number.
Yeah,
you're more
doors
than
open.
welcome all the time." "All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. It's all cool. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it." You know.
Yeah.
So we talked for a few minutes, you know, and he hung out with me, and you know, we just shot the shit. It was good.
Well, speaking of that, and I'm just going to veer just for a second.
All right.
Because I'm bringing one of more your friend than mine, but one of our mutual friends that we've fucking fallen out with.
Who?
Not in a bad way. We just have lost contact with back on the show. Tommy Paris.
Well, Tommy's always been good.
No, I know, but we just haven't talked to him in what?
Well, he disappeared
6
for
or
a
8
while.
years. Yeah. He's going to be on the show in the next month.
Oh, good. Excellent.
So,
Good.
anyway.
I like Tommy.
Yeah, I do too.
Tommy's a good dude.
Yep. We got offered Billy Childs. I said no.
We had Billy before. He was off the rails.
He's a fucking dummy.
But Tommy's a good dude, man.
Tommy's great.
Did I ever tell you how Tommy had some solo stuff that he was thinking about?
Yeah.
And he made me a specific CD and had my name on it and everything,
Right,
and he
yeah.
gave it to me, So I hit it off really good with Tommy.
I know. I was just surprised. Out of the blue, I got this offer to interview the members of Britney Fox.
Right.
And I was like, well, send me some music.
Right,
Or, I was
right.
like, the same answer I always give everybody.
Sure.
Send me some music and we'll do it.
Now
Sure.
that Chris Sanders, who played with Nader, right?
I think so, yeah.
He's now the new
Yeah, the
Michael
new-
Kelly Smith.
Yeah, exactly.
And the new Tommy Crash.
Right.
Which, by the way, we have some Tommy Crash tonight.
I'll have to
Or not
dig that
Tommy. We got some Bob Leather.
Bob
on
Leather.
that we have to cover.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So we got two segments of some Bob Leather.
Right.
We need to cover
All
tonight.
right, we can do that.
But he has a wild idea for a reality show
Okay.
that we need to discuss.
I have not listened. So
I know.
I'm in.
I know. So anyway,
You told me not to. I
yeah,
did not.
you're gonna love it. Taylor's heard it.
All right.
She thinks it's a great reality show.
I'm
Love
in.
Bob Leather.
Bob Leather's the man.
Yeah.
He is.
So anyway, just to wrap up, not to bore everybody to death, but to wrap up, last weekend, aside from the sound man
Yeah.
on the first night that Dokken played, I'm telling you, and Taylor is my witness. Guy didn't know what he was doing.
Taylor's your everything.
Nah,
That's
she,
right.
She was there.
Just
she,
admit it. Come
all right,
on.
that's true.
His cum dumpster, his fucking
Yeah.
jizz lopper.
But she saw it for herself.
What,
And,
your cock?
she saw how things go for real behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Even
Isn't that depressing? It's so depressing that, like, all the pageantry of a show, when you see it backstage and you see there's just a bunch of dicks fucking running around, and it's just as fucked up as going to your job. It's exactly the same as your
it's
job.
just as fucked as us trying to get this show together
Yeah,
tonight.
Well, it is. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then, but everybody's like, when you see like a Motley Crue show, it's
Right.
like shit's blowing up
Right.
and stuff, and everything's going all crazy. You're like, that fucking rules.
Yeah.
And then when you hang out backstage with it, you're like,
Wow.
oh man, I missed my fucking cue to hit that button.
Exactly.
And, oh, I forgot to turn the mic on here. And,
Sure.
you realize what a shitty fucking job that
It is. Absolutely.
Just terrible.
So Frank, the sound guy,
Yeah.
who works with Lenny Wolf,
Oh,
which, by the way,
my good buddy now. Lenny.
yes, which, by the way,
The guy we've had a problem with.
well,
Me.
which, by the way,
Yes.
the original Kingdom Come is getting back together.
Does that matter?
And no, but I'm just telling you.
Would you go see it?
It depends. It just depends on what
Did
they're
you go
doing.
see it originally?
No, I did not.
See, I saw it on the first.
Yeah, you saw it on the Monsters of Rock
I
tour,
saw it
right?
with and they were good.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know that I would give a fuck if it was Lenny and the other guys. I have
Right.
no idea who else was in that
Well,
band.
James Kotak,
All right, well, if he's not in prison, then I guess that's
Rick Steyer.
Rick Steyer.
Yeah, he played with Warren for a
And
while.
Crocus or something,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
so yeah, but that's what he was telling me. And then he also works with.
What the fuck was that?
We have a call. Do you
All
wanna
right,
take
take
a
the
call?
phone call. Go ahead.
I don't know
Oh,
if
God, who is this?
what number are they calling in?
I don't know. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and kill, boys. It's King James.
Oh, of course.
You sound like shit, Tim. Call back.
All right.
Why didn't it ring on the Skype?
I don't know. You got it on your phone too?
Yeah.
Gonna have to shut one of those off.
I'll just shut my phone completely.
Right. So anyway, yeah. So Taylor got to see the inner workings of what goes
did.
on behind the stage, and it's not glamorous.
No.
It's not.
It's not glamorous.
All right, you want Tim?
This fucking queer.
Hail and kill. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air. Are you there, Tim?
Tim.
No?
No Tim.
All right.
Good.
Why don't you turn your audio off on that Skype on your computer? Got to go to tools and settings.
Oh, that's
and...
not Skype. It's a long story.
All right. All right, whatever. But anyway, it was a very interesting weekend, to say the least.
Oh, that's cool.
Sebastian Bach was an asshole.
Yeah, he was definitely. Oh, tell him.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. So let me set this up. So while I was on the phone with you last week, and I said Sebastian Bach.
God damn it.
Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hello, Tim.
G'day, guys. It's Tim James.
Hey,
Hi,
what's up,
Tim.
Tim?
Who else is there?
It's Taylor Page.
Hey, queer, what's up?
It's the wonderful Taylor Page.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, get to it, Tim. We're very busy.
Are you guys discussing the Dokken show?
We are discussing the Dokken show.
Are you listening?
I'm on my way back from church, so I will be listening when I get home.
I like the fact that you go to church and then you tune into us.
Well, why not? You know, I go there and get that done, then I get the rocking on.
So you go and you pray for your immortal soul, and then you go out and sin again.
Yes.
Isn't the old saying, go out
who
and
said
sin?
rock and roll?
I just don't want to hear Tim. Enough.
Did you hang up on him?
Yes, I absolutely did.
All right.
Let's play some tunes.
All right. So anyway, since we talked about the whole Dokken thing, well, see, Taylor was going to talk about Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So while I was on the phone with you, I said Sebastian Bach just walked in. Chris.
All right, I'm listening.
And
Pay attention.
you know, he had his whole wedding thing the 2 weeks before.
Okay.
So he had his wife with him.
Ugh, that's always bad.
Yeah. So he had the wife with him, and so he's holding on to her like she's going to get away or something.
Right.
So he came up to the bar, and, you know, of course he got mobbed by everybody who was there, you know, wanting pictures and whatnot.
Right.
And so Taylor was over there, and she wanted to grab a photo with him.
Okay.
So I was not there. I was on the phone with you.
Right.
So I'll let Taylor tell the story.
Wait a minute. Tim, why'd you hang up?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we got disconnected, didn't we?
How did that happen, Tim?
Tim.
I mean, I don't know.
Anyway,
All
what
right,
was going
thank
on?
you. Anyway, I tried to take a picture with Sebastian Bach, and in the middle of Teresa taking my photo with Sebastian, he starts making out with this fucking dumb cunt gold-digging wife. Well, I'm trying to take the fucking photo.
Right.
You know, and Teresa's like, well, why don't you move in towards me
Right.
to at least seem like you're interested? And I guess he was going around telling people, oh, don't talk to my fucking babe. No one wants to talk to your fucking empty-headed whore wife. Fuck you, Sebastian. No one's there to see her.
So he was like protecting her, like nobody's allowed to approach her or talk to her. Or
could have
nothing.
left her at the fucking Botox clinic.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
all
say,
I give
who
a
punched
shit.
her in the mouth?
Yeah.
She looks like she got fucking belted.
Right. So apparently I didn't get to hear this, but Taylor was saying, yeah, he was just like, don't talk to my wife. Don't talk to her.
All right.
It's like, all right.
Like she's gonna hold
Not
the
a problem.
conversation. Exactly.
Not a problem, douchebag. Nobody wants to talk to your dumb wife.
Exactly.
Right. And so, you know, I approached him and, you know, gave him a shirt and, you know, he's like, oh, cool, dude. Cool.
Dude, you got one for my wife. Don't give it to her. Give it to me and I'll give it to her.
Right. Don't look at her. Avert your eyes.
Turn around.
Right. And, you know, and that's when I tried to get him on the show with us. And I said, dude, you've been on my show a bunch of times. You want to get on the... No, I don't remember that. Sorry, dude. And he was on his way up to the up in the elevator, you know.
Well, he had inflatable lips to wrap around his dick.
Apparently.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Sebastian, not the most cordial guy when he's out in public.
No, but when he's on the radio, he's a bad mother trucker.
He is. Bad mother trucker. But, yeah, Taylor got her... Taylor got,
You don't get that reference. You do.
but Taylor did get to meet the great Sebastian.
And the great Eddie Trunk.
Right, and the
Yeah.
great Eddie Trunk.
Fantastic.
So
I called him the great Eddie Trunk, and I was being sarcastic, and he took it as a compliment.
Sure
right.
he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Sure he did.
He goes, "This is the great Eddie Trunk."
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's so nice of you. That's what he said.
Thank you. I am. I most certainly am. And let me just tell you,
Fuck you, Eddie.
when I talk about Eddie Trunk, I mean what I say about Eddie Trunk.
Right. Exactly.
He's a hack.
But anyway, it was an interesting weekend, to say the
that's fun.
least.
Cool.
So it was an eye opener for Taylor, because she'd never been, around the whole production thing.
Yeah. Do you get why I never want to go to these things ever?
Well, it was fun being on the bus with Mick Brown. He was fucking hilarious.
Because you're new at it.
Yeah.
He still likes it, which I don't get.
Right.
I would just as soon never meet anybody. And he'll tell you that this is true.
That's true.
I take my passes at almost every show, and I find the hot chicks and I hand them to them. Not even trying to bang them. I'm just like, here, just take,
Right.
go suck the band's cock.
Right.
Sure.
Because I don't want to even deal with it.
Right.
It's not fun for me.
Yeah. Well, I just like to go because the guys in Dokken, they're always just
they're our
funny.
boys.
Yeah, they're funny, man.
They're our boys, but let's
Anybody else? I wasn't so interested.
But let's just say that we had backstage passes for a Sebastian Bach show. You'd still go.
Not so much.
You'd
Not
probably
really.
go.
No, I wouldn't.
If it was close to your house, you would.
Maybe if it was real close.
I would want to go, and then I'd drag him 100
Well,
miles to go see it.
right.
Like Chip's enough.
Exactly.
Enough's enough.
Well, see, I would go because I wanted to go hang out with Chip because I like him as a person.
See, like I'm going. Is it next week or 2 weeks or whatever it is to go see Slash?
Right.
And I got an email this week from Miles, his publicist.
Okay.
Me and Miles are
Right,
kind
sure,
of friendly and
sure.
whatever. About, do you want passes for the show? My answer, no.
Okay.
Just no.
All right.
I don't. I want to watch the show and then go to the bar.
Right.
That's what I want to do. I don't want to stand in line with a bunch of other fucking rubes for
Right.
2 hours
Sure.
so that I can fucking say, hey, bro, how are you?
Exactly.
And then get moved along and
Exactly.
shake Slash's hand. And
Right.
who gives a fuck?
Right.
I get it, Slash. You can play some guitar.
Well, in
It's
that
awesome.
in that environment, I agree.
I just when we're friends with the bands,
Yeah,
that's one thing.
I agree.
But when it's and admittedly, I am friends with Miles. But even in that situation,
Sure.
I know how that works.
You don't get the access?
No, I would get the I would get the access. I just don't care.
Okay.
I would rather take that hour that I could hang out, and I'll do a 15-minute interview. I'm better on the phone than I am in person because at least when I'm on the phone,
Well, you get
I can
their,
have a real conversation
And you get
one-on-one.
you get their undivided attention.
Versus trying to fucking compete with the 6 chicks with
Sure.
the big tits that are
Right.
trying to fucking work their way back to fucking them.
Right.
And that's just not fun for me anymore.
I agree.
I'm just done with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, the only one I will go to, though, still, when Operation Mindcrime comes.
Sure.
Well, now that I've heard that fucking opus.
Oh man.
Now that I've heard that opus, I can't wait to see it.
Sure.
Will you go see that?
No,
I will absolutely go.
I will not.
I will 100%. I will go.
And I notice, there's a lot of band member changes.
Yeah.
I see that some of the other guys that he was working with before are no longer
Of
involved.
course not.
Did
Did you hear our thing last week about bands like Simon Wright's AC/DC and Randy
Oh yeah,
Gaines'
absolutely, absolutely.
Come on, that was funny.
That was funny. I agree.
Randy Gaines, Queensryche.
Exactly. Exactly.
So good.
Yep, I agree. Well, let's get into a tune. Let's play some, since we were talking about Dokken and last weekend. You got anything else to add, Taylor?
Did you want to talk about that chick, or you want to later on?
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
All right,
go
Real
ahead.
quick. So it was Sunday night,
Yeah.
and after the show was over,
Okay.
we went back to the hotel,
All right.
and Dawn was being
Fucked.
No,
Yes.
Wow.
Dawn was being very festive.
Apparently you were too.
And being that they were held over for 2 days,
Yeah.
they weren't they weren't like, oh man, we got to catch the plane, blah blah blah.
Right.
So they were everybody was kind of laid back and relaxed.
Right.
So a lot of people found their way back to the hotel, whether they were staying there or not. It's one thing, but apparently it was made public where a lot of these bands were hanging out.
Right.
So there was a lot of people hanging out. It was nice weather, so people were outside in the entryway to the hotel and inside the bar area and whatnot.
Okay.
So Don decided he was just going to hang out and hold court.
Okay.
So, a bunch of people hanging out, and so he decided he was going to take a walk outside, and Chip was out there, and John Corabi was out there, and John played, his acoustic set thing.
Right. How was that?
I didn't get to see it. He played at another venue.
Oh, okay.
He played Friday night as the opener.
Okay.
Because they'd had this pre-show party type thing.
Right.
And we didn't go till Saturday.
Okay.
Then he went and played another bar somewhere in the local area.
Okay.
But whatnot. Anyways, but he was hanging out, and Chip was hanging out, and a bunch of people were hanging out. So we walked outside.
Right.
And we're just kind of standing there shooting the shit and talking and whatnot. And so while we're standing there, this chick, how did Don phrase it about these girls?
Well, he was talking about how some girls, they have nice bodies, but their face is all fucked up.
Right.
He was just talking about these girls who were kind of past their prime.
Sure.
Right.
But they still have pretty decent bodies, but their faces show the
wrinkles.
Because they've had their fair share of alcohol and drugs and abuse and whatnot.
It's that GILF syndrome.
Yeah, well, these girls were probably in their mid to late 40s.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Still decent figures, but they're they got that road hard put away wet look.
Look like they slept with a pan on their face.
So Don was saying, he goes, it's kind of sad. He says, it's sad for me to come out here and see all these girls that used to be, and Taylor, of course, she was dressed to the nines, smoking hot. He goes, now look at Taylor. He says, all these girls used to look like this in the 80s, but not anymore. He said, now they look like this. All these girls wearing jeans, and they're just kind of like these housewife looking.
Tits hanging out.
More or less.
Nice.
And he goes, and then their faces look like this girl walking up to us. Yeah. And this girl come up. And, again, I suppose she could have been a nice enough gal. I didn't know shit from her. So she walks up and she starts talking to Don, and she starts calling him Mr. Dokken.
Oh, God. And she had old catcher's mitt face?
More or less. Yeah, she hit the tanning bed, 6 or 8, 20 times too many times. and so she's talking to Don, and obviously she's had too much to drink.
Right.
And she's barefoot.
Barefoot?
Out on this pavement, right?
And she's 50?
I don't know how old, maybe mid-40s.
All right, 70?
No. But anyway, she comes up and she starts talking to Don and calling him Mr. Dokken. And I kept telling her, I said, it's okay, you can call him Don,
Yeah.
And, well, Mr. Dokken, so she goes, Mr. Dokken, have you ever heard of teabagging?
What?
That's what she said. And she said, I just heard about this tonight. My friend just brought it up. Do you even know what that is? And he goes, yeah, I know where that is. He said, that's when you're laying down and the guy lowers his balls into your mouth or puts them over your eyes or whatever.
Right.
She goes, I never heard of that before. And he goes, well, why don't you go home and have your husband,
Was she trying to lead him to teabag?
No. She was just stunned that she never heard of this before.
She's calling him Mr. Dokken in one hand, and then she wants to have a discussion about teabagging?
Well, her friend.
What?
Her friend.
Is that her in the chat?
Her girlfriend.
Is that her?
Her girlfriend. I don't know how the discussion came up, but her girlfriend brought up this whole teabagging thing.
All right.
And
why?
I don't know. This was before.
Because they're drunken cunts. That's why.
So she said she'd never heard of it before, and she wanted to know if Don knew about it.
How old was this woman?
She was 45.
And she'd never heard of teabagging.
That's what she said.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is why women need to watch porn.
Right.
Get the fuck outta here.
So he goes, well, why don't you go home to your husband and ask him to teabag you? And she goes, well, I'm not married. I don't answer to anybody.
And Don was like, of course you're not.
Yeah, all right. And then she goes, yeah, I'm divorced. I got rid of that guy a long time ago. And I said, see, and this is exactly why you're divorced, because you didn't let him teabag you.
Or she was so oh, Jesus Christ, they are.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Crack whore. Yikes.
No, but that's the reason that she's undesirable.
Yeah.
Because you can't do nothing with her.
Yeah, very uptight.
That's a missionary position only chick.
That's it.
That's it.
Very uptight.
What do you mean? You want me to face the other way?
Yeah, exactly. No,
What?
you might see my ass jiggle.
Oh, I don't want to see that. What if I didn't wipe well?
Yeah. I don't want you to see my ass jiggle.
Listen, honey.
Ew.
Cottage cheese on her ass.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that?
Ew.
I want to fucking make this clear fucking condom brown, and then I want you to make it clear again with your mouth.
Right.
Do it!
So anyway, she was just like this total spaced out drunk, whatever.
Nice.
And then her friend, she goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe that she's going around asking people about this. This is just ridiculous."
Well, hold on, let me get to the obvious.
Yes.
She's walking around the bar talking to these
Well,
guys.
this was outside.
Yeah.
And no one took her back to the bus.
No, well,
Nope.
Come on, dude. Everybody's just like,
Stop
fuck
with
that.
the come on, dude. Someone will bang a chick that wants to fucking find out about being teabagged.
Well,
no matter what she looks like.
Right. Well, regardless, we didn't see that happen. How about that?
I mean, come on. Nuno Betancourt, he can't be drawing a lot of chicks. Pat Badger, he was happy to talk to me. He should have been teabagging this fucking nasty broad.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah. So we were out there, watching the parade of humanity go by.
I'll bet.
And Don just got to the point. He goes, I've had enough of this. Let's get out of here.
I hate people.
Let's get, well, more or less, yeah. And he's just like, let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just call it a night.
Right.
So Taylor and I and Dawn and Teresa and her friend and whatever, we all just went, we were all on the same floor.
Right.
So we just went to our rooms.
Teresa went up to Don and was like, "Oh, Mr. Dokken, isn't it time for my tea bag?"
Yeah, I told her that. I said, because that chick was like engaging Dawn with this discussion. Nice, Granny teabag. Nice.
All right, go ahead.
So I said to Teresa, I said, you need to go rescue Don.
Right.
I said, just walk up to him and say, "Don, isn't it time for you to teabag me?" And she goes, so she did. She walked right up in the middle of this crowd. He was talking to like 4 or 5 people and that chick. And she said she just walked right up and said, "Don, I think it's time for my teabagging now."
That's awesome.
So she got him away from him, and then we went back up to the room. So he's in the elevator, and he's just like, "This is just so sad to me." He says, "I've stood in line 3 times in my life." He says, "I stood in line to go see Rainbow.
Right.
I stood in line to go see
Judas Priest,
and he says, I stood in line for one other. I can't remember who else.
Doesn't matter.
And he was just like, and he says, and I get it. When you're young, you're in your teens, maybe early 20s, and you kind of want to hang out, meet your favorite rock star.
Mm-hmm.
These fucking chicks are in their 50s still hanging out, hoping to meet their favorite rock star." He goes, "That's just sad."
That is just sad.
Because it's
dude, I've had that same conversation with you. That 3 years ago or whatever, when all those old ladies came up to Don.
Yep.
And you swore they weren't old ladies. They were old fucking ladies. These were in their 60s.
They weren't that old.
They were fucking ancient. All 3 of them are dead now.
Oh, that's why you didn't go after him, right?
That's
They're
right.
too old for you?
That's right. So anyway, he was just like, "Yeah, this is just sad." He said, I couldn't take it anymore. He said, "I just had to get away from there." It was like, ugh.
I am loving all these crack horses.
I know.
These guys are posting.
Nathan.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. So needless
I'd
to
hit that.
Yeah, just for the story.
Just for the story.
Right. So needless to say that ended the evening.
I'd hit that one too. Just for the story. The grandma.
Right. Nice.
With her old bony hands.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, enough about my weekend with the teabagging groupie whores.
Nice.
But I was interested. Yeah, that girl pretty much looked like that girl Aowa Rocks put up there.
Let's see. Ugh.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
That's really pathetic.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it looked like.
That's fucking poor.
That was as close as it could be.
Just a fucking old lady trying to pretend she's a young lady.
Yeah, and there was a few of them. Oh, in fact, Teresa, there was a lady there. She was probably like 60.
Yeah.
And she was, she's wearing like these high heel boots and these tight pants and stuff. And Teresa
the
just
lady with the fringe or whatever. Yeah.
And Teresa's just like, if I ever end up looking like that, just do me a favor and punch me in the face.
Don will do that, right?
Yeah,
that was the other thing too. While we were on the bus, we got into the whole punch you in the face thing.
Oh, nice.
So Don really thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So the whole weekend was, just mind yourself or I'm going to punch you in the face. He goes, I'm trying to break that habit. He says it's kind of, we got to save the best for last. Mm-hmm. About leaving the venue in the bus.
Oh, God. Holy shit.
I have never seen Don do this. One last good story.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in this bus trying to get out of this venue.
Wait a minute. Stop. Before you even get to this story, Raider with the line of the night. Isn't that the chick from Vixen?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The dead one?
Yes.
Yikes.
All right, go ahead.
All right. The line of the weekend came from Don.
All right.
We were trying to get out of this venue on this bus.
Okay.
So this place was all fenced off, right?
Yeah.
And they had these gates on this fence.
Okay.
And the gal who was driving the bus, she says, I don't know how to get out of I don't know how to get out of here. She said the gate that we came through is over there and it's closed.
Right.
And it's locked. How do I get out of here?
Yeah.
Well, these security guys were driving around in this golf cart.
Right.
So she pulled the bus up where this gate was.
Yeah.
And she opened up the window and she's just like, I'm trying to get out here. I'm trying to get out on the road and this is the gate I came through. Is this how I'm going to get out?
Yeah.
And the guy is talking to her, telling her how to direct her out of the campground area.
Okay.
So Dawn gets up, opens up the window, screams, yells out the window, open that gate or I'm going to fucking kill your children.
Nice.
Oh, God.
And then he got back in the bus, and I said, holy shit, Don. And he goes, well, they kind of moved then. He said, people seem to act when you get their children involved.
That's hilarious.
Open the gate or I'm going to kill your fucking children.
Nice. Too funny.
So that kind of ended that.
It's great.
All right, so let's get into some music.
All right.
And play some Dokken.
All right.
To wrap up the Dokken segment.
All right.
Some Kiss of Death live.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Well, we're going to play a couple songs. Go get a drink. We got some good stuff coming your way. We got some Bob Leather.
What?
Bob Leather checking in.
All right.
So here it is. It's Dokken live. Kiss of Death exclusively here
on your classic metal show.